We're going to get every film we've seen. I'm like wondering what's the order. So we're going to get Her.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Even the Black Mirror episode where they go to that island or whatever it is.
Yeah. Then we're going to get Matrix. And then we're going to get Terminator 2. That's it. That's the order.
I mean, it could happen. Yeah, I mean, this is where the capital's going.
Yeah. I mean, on the Terminator 2 spot, like I'd love to unpack the Optimus program that they're building at Tesla. Have you seen
What's this?
Optimus. Like Optimus Prime.
That's ridiculous.
You pull this up. So
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. So a couple weeks ago,
This is Tesla, do you say?
yeah, Tesla, right? Like so.
Is it a robot?
Oh, I have
Is
seen
it a
this.
robot
Pull
truck?
this up. Yeah.
No, it's a humanoid.
So a
robot.
couple weeks ago, they released a couple videos. Yeah. Yeah. Pull up the one where it's doing yoga. Is this?
Hold on. Didn't they use the music from, like, it was a bit of a troll. They used the music from, what's that film with the
Yeah,
robot?
Just add the word yoga there. And then-
What's the film with the robot, with the tech guys living out in, what is it?
Oh yeah. Watch this. Okay.
Yeah, it's the music from that film.
Yeah. So it's self-calibrating here using purely visual AI. So it has all these data points, and then look at this. So imagine this guy in an automobile factory. Right?
This is all real.
This is all real time. Look at this, and it's not programmed to do this. It's given the instruction, sort the blocks, and then it decides how to do that using everything in what you see.
You missed iRobot from your film list.
Yeah, watch this. Okay, so
Yeah, shit.
this is effectively 1 year of development. So if you saw the Tesla event earlier this year, this robot could like not even walk on stage, right? And this is like less than 8 months of progress is what you see here, and this robot they're targeting to essentially reduce Tesla's manufacturing. Look at this, Tesla's manufacturing cost by half. So
And imagine you can make, like, if the geopolitical implications, right? Tesla has massive factories in China. China has a demographic problem.
yeah.
Everyone's saying that's trying to collapse. Imagine by 2030, Tesla is making 100 million of these in China.
You know, that's the music from Ex Machina.
Yeah.
That is such a troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But like you can
he
see
does
where
that.
these things are converging, and they have massive military implications. They have massive implications for those folks in the Midlands that are basically just, biomechanical, labor, right? So that is going to be.
We need to put the creator in the mix as well, because there's that bit in the creator where the humans are fighting the robot, but they're fighting those.
Yeah.
I mean, the military is aggressively positioning for an entirely drone workforce, right? Or drone armies, right? Drone air force.
They kind of have a large drone air force right now, but they're operated by
Yeah, they're
guys who sit
operated in the desert.
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, the what's called NGAD, the Next Generation Air Dominance Program, is basically going to be like one manned advanced next generation fighter, but with large number of autonomous wingmen, and they can do dynamic adjustments to target.
Cool, yeah.
But like that was basically a compromise to like the legacy egos of the fighter jockeys that they would still be in charge. But like the plan is like, if that guy's plane gets shot down, the rest of the swarm can do what it needs to do. He's just there to kind of like get his medals until they phase out the fighter training programs. But yeah, they this is the way wars are going to be fought. They're already being fought like this. Like if you look at Ukraine war, it's all drones and semi-autonomous targeting. I mean, several years ago, I was doing assessments of counter UAS systems, and even then, you could use commercial off-the-shelf components with machine vision and be like, hey, look for this type of vehicle, fly in this area until you see it, and then crash into it with a little explosive attached to it. So essentially, like a loitering munition, right? That can precisely target a particular object that is coded to recognize. Like that existed. Like you could just buy and build that off the shelf, right?
Kamikaze drones.
Yeah. But like imagine, but now it's like scaling that and doing that instead of like one-offs, doing that hundreds of thousands.
But it's so fucked because the future's literally coming to us.
Yeah, this is like a year of development.
But the future's coming to us. Everything that looked like it would be out of our lifetime, decades away, we're possibly going to live through.
Yeah.
And there's
This decade.
Yeah, and every scenario is possible. I'm a little bit fearful. Well, I'm also optimistic because, like, I'm seeing the productivity increases we're getting. I'm thinking, great.
You want to get in the pod.
No. If the government tax me less, I can invest more money that I make from being productive into new businesses. I like building businesses. I love that side of things. I just know there are psychos out there and greedy people and fucking dicks who are going to use this to exploit people. And it just feels like these films, they always seem to predict the future correctly.
Well, think about our need to onshore manufacturing in an intensifying geopolitical environment where you have these Optimus robots essentially able, using visual learning, literally to watch an employee do a task and then do it perfectly for 24 hours a day. You know, tag team, another robot that comes, takes the job over, it goes and recharges, right? And you have like fully autonomous manufacturing for anything. That's going to be important when we look at supply chains, like shortening supply chains, which we're already trying to do. And you can imagine the brokering that will happen congressionally on this, because like this is terrifying. Like how many jobs you're gonna, you see the UAW strike. It's like how do you like placate that? Well, it's like, hey, well, you know what? These companies are going to be insanely profitable and insanely productive, way more than they are already. And so I see a situation in the not too distant future where you have a negotiation that goes something like, well, for autonomous labor or revenue that is produced as a result of autonomous labor or AI systems, we're going to tax that at a different rate. And you need to have an accountability structure in your organization to track, audit, and report on this. And then we're going to tax that at a much higher rate. And the corporations won't care because it's already substantially better than their human labor experience.
Well, they will care. I mean, Amazon has proved that they want preferential tax rates, even though they're ultra profitable.
Well, and of course there'll be a jockey.
They don't need a 401k. They don't need benefits.
Yeah, they don't need. Yeah, so their costs are going to be substantially less. And these Optimus robots, Musk was on stage saying he's targeting like a $20,000 price tag on these, right? And so they also repair themselves, right? Like they're modular. So. You're talking about Terminator, like
well, that is the key,
one,
right? Like right now, it's humans making these machines.
Yeah.
Version 2 is machines making the machines.
Yeah.
That is when you get,
make it kill the human.
Well, that's where like the returns. Well, so this is where this is all. It's an amplification of human capabilities, and therefore also amplification of human intents alongside that. Yeah. So we haven't talked about the biotech threat, but actually that's probably the most near-term strategic threat to.
Is it AI and CRISPR?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I think that's
gene therapy,
Anthropic basically, which is one of the leading kind of safety research organizations is at the foundation model development side of things. And they're also, like the head of that, pays a lot of attention to what physicists were thinking and writing and doing in the Manhattan Project, what were sort of the ethical quandaries of that. And he's become pretty close to the U.S. intelligence community because he doesn't want there to be any strategic surprises that spill out of this. So for example, they did a project, very secret, like 6 months of intensive study where they brought in like the leading experts on like how to design and develop bioweapons of various kinds. And they wanted to see, with access to Anthropic's internal model capabilities, like how far away would it be for someone to just basically prompt themselves to get all the detailed instructions of like how to design a bioweapon, right? And both from the basic science, the laboratory infrastructure that you would need to buy, how you would need to set it up, the precise laboratory protocols. And what they found was that there are a few key like niche specialized pieces of knowledge that the model didn't have that are like you only get by basically working in these labs for 10, 20 years, and they're not really in many textbooks, but they're pretty close to like interpolating between that and like accumulating that sort of expertise internally because they have access to all the textbooks and all the experimental results and all the papers, et cetera. They don't have access to these classified studies or that sort of intangible expert knowledge. But he was like, maybe it's 2 to 3 years away. Like the ability, they went back and sort of did the same analysis of the models, like the lagging models for the past few years. And they looked like how quickly did they close those gaps of like those like niche, those key critical skills and pieces of knowledge. And they were closing them at a rate that looked like they would close all of those gaps in the next 2 to 3 years, roughly, with big error bars. So that is like a very worrying, strategic concern for the U.S. intelligence community, national security across the world. Is like lots of crazy people out there right now. There's like a high bar to like get access to the right knowledge and equipment and infrastructure, ways to do this. And, you can ask Google like how to build a bioweapon, like whatever. But like there's a long way between that and actually being able to do it and getting like the precise step-by-step instructions that if you wanted to, one or two people could follow to, create something very destructive. So that is one of the focus areas of intelligence community now, is like, how do you mitigate that, right? Like, how do you ensure that whatever model you release doesn't enable that type of thing, right?
Well, you get in the pod.
But this is where there's a slippery slope, right? In terms of like, if these models become so ubiquitous in, across the economy, across social media, across everyone's, but they require like a much more intensive regime of effective censorship, right? They require censorship of the bad things we definitely all agree on. There's like a sliding scale of like bioweapons, most horrible things you could imagine. Everyone universally agrees those things should be censored, right? Especially if they pose a risk to my family and my home, right? Like definitely block that. But that capability to do that is the same capability that could be leveraged to, impose a much more sweeping, like Chinese style CCP social surveillance and control system, right? And so this is going to become a very intensive part of discussion, as like, as we're sort of trying to address the safety questions, how do we ensure that, the basic premise of liberal democracy and freedom of expression, survives, right? That's going to be a big challenge.